It is 7 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. on March 4th, 2025, and I'm calling to order the City of Brookings Planning Commission. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will conduct this meeting in a regular format and will allow commissioners, applicants, and interested participants an opportunity to speak. This meeting is being broadcast live on PEG channel 181 and can be streamed on the city's YouTube channel. We would like to welcome new Planning Commissioner Amanda Whitmore.
Thank you.
Amanda, would you like to say anything? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am here in the community to be of service and do all that we can to make Brookings the best town to live in for everyone.
Okay, thank you. We will now conduct the roll call of planning commissioners.
Commissioner Whitmore?
Here.
Commissioner Chapman?
Here.
Chair Watwood?
Here.
Commissioner Wolkowitz?
Here.
Commissioner Bruce?
Here.
Commissioner Bond?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Planning Commission Chairperson announcements. I don't have any announcements. We're about to begin the public hearing portion of the agenda. The following information applies to all applications being heard today. The public hearing will be conducted in the following manner. First, the planning staff will present their report. The applicant will then make his or her presentation. Next, anyone wishing to speak in support of the proposal will be afforded an opportunity, followed by anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the proposal. Finally, any interested parties or representatives of public agencies will be asked to testify. All speakers must state their names and mailing addresses. Any person who wishes to speak may be asked questions by the commissioner. The applicant will be offered the opportunity to rebut evidence. Planning staff will then be given the opportunity to make any final comments at the end of the public testimony portion of this hearing. Testimony and evidence must be given under the following guidelines. All testimony and evidence must be directed toward the criteria outlined in the staff report, comprehensive plan, or land use regulation which applies to the decision. Except for the applicant, testimony shall be limited to 5 minutes unless otherwise stated by the chair. Any exhibits presented will be marked as part of the record and will be kept by the planning staff until appeal opportunities expire. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission and the parties an opportunity to respond precludes appeal to the Oregon Land Use Board of Appeals, LUBA, based on that issue. Failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to the proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the commission to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in circuit court. Prior to the conclusion of the evidentiary hearing, any participant may request additional time and the opportunity to present additional evidence or testimony regarding the proposal. This is limited to those who have spoken on the request. Repetitious testimony is not necessary and is discouraged. We have a conditional use permit for a short-term rental at 1314 Hampton Road for consideration tonight. This is a quasi-judicial hearing and the Planning Commission will make a decision on this matter. By a show of hands, does any commissioner have any ex parte contact to declare for any of these applications? I see no hands raised. By a show of hands, does any commissioner have any personal bias or personal interest that would preclude their participation in hearing any of these applications? I see no hands raised. By a show of hands, does any commissioner have any potential or actual conflict of interest to declare for any of these applications? I see no hands raised. Does anyone object to the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission to hear these matters? Seeing no hands raised in objection, we will now proceed with the presentation of these applications. We will now proceed with the following applications. Do we want to get him on the phone? Hi, Carl. This is Skip Watwood with the City of Brookings Planning Commission. We are ready for your agenda item. So can you hear me okay?
We can, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to proceed with agenda item 4.1 CUP-2-25. The time is now 7:06 p.m. and the public hearing to consider the following application is open. In the matter of file number CUP-2-25, a request for approval of a conditional use permit to operate a short-term facility at 1314 Hampton Road. The application and owners are Carl and Emily Clyde. The criteria used to decide this matter are found in section 17.124.170, short-term rentals, chapter 17.136, conditional uses, and section 17.20.040Q, single-family residential R16. We will now proceed with the staff report.
Good evening. This is a request for a conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental in a single-family dwelling at 1314 Hampton Road, zoned R1. The property is surrounded by R1 single-family residential. The subject property is regular in shape, 0.13 acre in size, and access from Hampton Road, which is a paved travel surface with partial public improvements in the right-of-way. The property is developed with a single-family, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,700 square foot dwelling, a 2-car garage, and a paved driveway large enough to accommodate 3 vehicles, meeting the required off-street parking requirement. Utilities are provided, and the applicant has advised a local representative residing within the Brookings urban growth boundary will be responsible for the property and available to have repairs made, resolve disputes, and/or terminate occupancy if necessary. We did receive a written comment from a neighboring property owner that you've been provided to review. Staff recommends approval and has prepared a final order to be considered.
Thank you, Lori. Carl, would you like to say anything on your behalf or about the application?
I had difficulty hearing the last part. Did you say that there was a comment made by a neighbor?
Yeah, we received a letter in opposition. Did you not get a copy of that? No,
Yeah.
Lori's saying she did not give you a copy of that.
I'll forward a copy to you, Carl.
If you were to tell me what the basis of the opposition was, I might want to comment on it.
Read.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, do you have it handy? Oh,
I got it. This is from Mr. and Mrs. Bailey, who reside at 16932 Kendall Lane in Brookings. And their comments are, this is in response to a letter I received from the City of Brookings. We are against the property at 1314 Hampton Road, file number CUP-225, becoming a short-term rental. There are several short-term rentals on Parkview. One of these is a property away from us. First issue, as more houses are allowed to become short-term rentals, there is less inventory for full-time residents, and it drives prices up. This has become an issue in beach cities in California. We have had issues with several of the short-term renters trespassing, setting off illegal fireworks during the summer months, and partying loudly outside after 10 p.m. We had a renter there that had a wolf hybrid loose on our property. He was not even aware that it was a loose dog. I had to yell and ask if anyone was missing a dog. He told me it was a wolf hybrid and it did not like other animals. So he also said one of the other loose dogs was a coyote hybrid. I don't know what the other two dogs were. Even well-behaved renters cause neighborhood dogs to bark more, as there are always strangers and unknown dogs in there. One of the renters tried to cut the lock off my neighbor's gate so they could park their boat there. Before allowing this, how would you vote? Before allowing how would you vote or decide the issue if it was the house next door to yours? Thank you for consideration of the full-time residents.
Did you hear all of that, Clyde?
I did.
Or Mr. Clyde, sorry.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I would just have some brief comments. First of all, there's certain critical points that the respondent has. I totally understand that there's a general disagreement perhaps between person about whether short-term rentals create a housing crisis or not. I would admit that they don't, in the sense that they also bring in quite a bit of revenue to the tax roll and bring in a great deal of tourism and business to the area. My wife and I are local to Grand Pass, and we're lifetime Oregonians. We do have specific rules that we keep at our short-term rental. There aren't any dogs or animals of any kind permitted, except for, of course, service animals when we're required by the ADA to provide that. And then also, we keep quiet hours, which are scheduled in a listing, and they're scheduled on site as well. About a year ago, my wife and I had the privilege to open a short-term rental in Brookings, closer to the center of town. And we've been running it successfully for a year, and we've not had any complaints with trespassing or any other issues with the neighbors, or problems with our guests being too loud, or partying, or trespassing, or having issues with animals. That's something that we take seriously. This is a place that we go to regularly with our family, probably once a month at least, I would say. And so some of the near and dear to our heart in terms of how we take care of it, and absolutely our position that we want our neighbors to be. It's not happy with, at least contested with, how the home is being used. It's not meant to disrupt the neighborhood, and if I found out about that, I'd be the first one to be addressing it. So, if there's anything I can do to assuage the neighbor's mind, if they would like my personal contact information, something like that, I'm happy to provide it. I think that we fit within the scope and the rules and regulations provided by the statute and the local ordinances. And so we're grateful for the opportunity to do this, and we really just want it to be a nice place for families to go to. We don't allow any groups or wedding parties or any type of events at the houses that we run. So I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. Anybody in support? Any opposed? Any interested parties? Any applicant rebuttal? We don't have anybody in our audience here, so there's nobody opposed showed up. Any staff additional comments?
No.
Anybody else? Any questions? Does any participant request additional time to present evidence? Do you request additional time, Carl?
No, I do not.
Okay. In any land use decision, the burden of producing substantial evidence to demonstrate compliance with the applicable criteria is upon the applicants. If adequate evidence is not provided, the application must be denied. An applicant may be granted up to 7 additional days to submit written argument. Do the applicants request additional time to submit written argument?
We do not.
Okay. If not, are you willing to waive written argument and have a decision made this evening?
Yes.
Okay. It is now 7:14 p.m. and public testimony is closed on Planning Commission file number CUP-2-25. We will now proceed with Planning Commission discussion and make a decision on the matter. From this point forward, no member of the audience will be allowed to address the commission.
You're doing pretty good here. I move that the Planning Commission approve file number CUP-2-25, a request for a conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental at 1314 Hampton Road based on the findings and conclusions stated in the staff report and subject to the conditions of approval.
Second.
Chair Whatwood,
Aye.
Commissioner Chapman,
Aye.
Commissioner Bruce,
Aye.
Commissioner Wolkowitz,
Aye.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitmore,
Aye.
motion carries.
I move. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You got it.
You go.
I move that the planning commission approve the final order regarding file CUP-2-25 based on the findings and conclusions stated in the staff report and subject to the conditions of approval.
Second.
Commissioner Wolkowitz,
Aye.
Commissioner Bruce,
Aye.
Commissioner Chapman,
Aye.
Commissioner Whitmore,
Aye.
Chair Whatwood,
Aye.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay. Thank you, Carl. Your application's been approved.
Excellent, thank you for the opportunity.
Yep. Have a nice evening. Does everybody get a copy of the minutes of the meeting? Have they had a chance to review them? Yep. Any corrections or changes?
No. I move that the planning commission approve the planning commission minutes of February 4th, 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Whitmore,
Aye.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Aye.
Commissioner Wolkowitz,
Aye.
Chair Whatwood,
Aye.
Commissioner Chapman,
Aye.
Commissioner Bruce,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you. Is any unscheduled public appearances? I believe so. Nobody's in the audience. Any report from the planning staff, Lori?
Nope, we'll have a April meeting with one conditional use permit for a short-term rental.
Okay. Item 8, commission final comments. I'd just like to remind the public that's watching that if they do have a short-term rental and there are nuisances, they need to be documented, they need to call. And I know that we don't want to waste police department resources. However, that's the way that we document if these are a problem, because they haven't been a problem yet. So,
And we want to keep it that way.
right, and we want to keep that. I'm not saying it's going to be a problem, but we just haven't experienced that so far, so. Anybody else?
Am I
Okay.
coming back next month?
Are you
Yes.
coming back?
Thought I'd check.
Okay, it is now